let's move on to talk about another great musician who is releasing something I think very special. Actually, I really like this Apple Rabbit stuff. But
absolutely, yeah. We'll let him tell you all about it because we did an interview with him earlier this week. But he's working with Doug Wolfson from Infernal Machine Recordings, locally in Purton. So let's hear from Jay Fisher.
Jay Fisher from Apple Rabbits was in the studio earlier on this week.
We're joined in the studio by Jay Fisher from Apple Rabbit. Thank you for coming on the show.
Hello. Yeah.
It's good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks.
First off, I've got to kind of ask the question, Apple Rabbit, where's the name come from?
An ex of mine, when she was a kid at school, had a pretend band in her playground, and that's the name that she chose, and I nicked it off her when she left.
It's quite sweet then, in terms of taking it from a childhood sort of memory.
It's her childhood, though, not mine.
Yeah.
I just thought it was quite a nice name.
So explain to us what Apple Rabbit is. What's the music style? Who's involved?
It's whatever I like at the time. Whenever I write, I suppose predominantly it's kind of a singer-songwriter, because I did start off as a singer-songwriter. Yep. There are lots of things on it which are kind of nice and you could possibly play it to your nan, and then there are other things on there which your nan would hate, so it's slightly more electronic, and so it's kind of a mixture of electronic and acoustic, I think.
So is that something you're interested in doing, is including kind of that electronic aspect to it and maybe messing with things a little bit more than maybe other singer-songwriters would, as you say?
Yeah, I've never really particularly been interested in being a singer-songwriter, but because I could never keep a band together, or it just ends up being your lot.
Because you have more creative control, you can do pretty much whatever you want to, because it isn't decision by veto. You can actually say, actually, I want to put that in there, and actually I want to write a song in a completely different way today.
Yeah, and also if you do it over a long period of time, that's just what happens naturally. So in 2 years of writing songs, you just naturally move into different areas, and so when you finally get to do the album, it's all over the place, like Kate Bush.
You've lived in various countries in your life and everything. Do you take inspiration from where you live in terms of what you put into your music?
I have no idea.
So you lived in Paris, didn't you? So did did that inspire you with lots of elegance and culture? And
it may have done. I just soak up anything that's going on. I don't really think about it in that way. Some reviewer said that it sounded like he'd been to France because there was an accordion on it, but that's because there just happened to be an accordion in the studio, so it probably, but I really don't know, to be honest.
You're working with Doug Wolfson from Infernal Machine Recordings, based in Purton locally. How did you get involved with him? How do you know him? And why are you kind of putting your singles out through him?
Well, because we used to be in the same band. We were in the band called Canteen together. I hadn't seen him for years. He disappeared off to do another band, and Canteen sort of fell apart. And then I made the Canteen MySpace. I just stuck all the stuff up just for fun, and wrote a little biography about us and said that Doug may be dead. I don't know where he is. And I just got this message saying, I'm not dead, I've got a studio, do you want to make an album? So that's how we ended up. I hadn't seen him for about 5-6 years or something. I had no idea where he was.
So you've got a new single, that's
Monday
21st, isn't it?
Yeah, it's out on
21st
Monday.
of April.
Yeah.
What's the title?
Sing to Me.
Sing to Me. And tell us a bit about it. How did you come up with it? What's the background to it?
It is actually a really, really old... It started off as a really old 4-track recording from years ago that I wrote when I was in Australia. It just stayed with me for years and years and years. It just kept being there. So it ended up getting recorded. It is about doing terrible jobs and it being your lot in life. You will always have to do these things. It's about me when I'm at my worst points, and when you're sitting there going, I'm rubbish, and I have to sweep up for a living. It's that kind of thing.
Is it released just electronically on the internet? Are you releasing it as a hard single?
The process that me and Doug go through is that we don't know what the hell is going on. We don't know if anyone's buying anything. It's released on iTunes at the moment, so it will be out on iTunes. And we kind of trying to use the internet as much as we can for people to hear it. And we generally release the videos on like a torrent. They get downloaded quite a lot. It's quite weird. So we tend to give away a lot more than we sell, which is fine. No, it's not. Awful. I want a mansion and a swimming pool. It's terrible, it's wrong. We're just trying to cobble it together. We're trying to remain independent, but also get it out there. It's quite difficult, but also quite interesting learning experience.
And if people like the sound of the single, are they going to like the sound of the album as well?
I do. I think this sounds like the same person all the way through. I think that's the thing about the album, is it does sound like the same person. There is a consistency in there, even if it chops around in style.
Where can people get more information? Have you got a MySpace website?
There's a MySpace. There's Apple Rabbits at MySpace.
MySpace.com/AppleRabbit, is that it? Or?
Yep, or there's the Infernal Machine MySpace, and we are building websites at the moment. Just put Apple Rabbits into Google. What you get is sandwich box ideas and me. Okay. So it's the not sandwich part of what you get from Google.
Okay. So are we going to see you play live at all anywhere locally, do you think?
I did find out today that there is a charity gig for Music Alive, another one. They did one a couple of months ago.
At the Swindon Town Football Club.
So I said yes to that today. So that's my local gig.
That's an exclusive.
There you go.
We find out first on the Frequency. Jay, thank you for coming on the show. That's great. We're going to listen to a couple of your tracks in a bit, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, thank you ever so much.
Thanks a lot.
What a superb interviewee. That man is a genius. That's absolutely superb. Jay Fisher, Apple Rabbits. Go and check it out. Google him, Apple Rabbits, with an S on the end.
Yeah.
And all one word, and you'll be able to find Jay's MySpace page. You can read all about him. You can hear far more through Infernal Recordings.
Yeah.
And go and check out their MySpace as well.
And a single out tomorrow. Indeed. So you'll hear from that, or hear it later on in the show.